Have you ever wondered how to do a glute bridge that actually activates your glutes and not just your hip flexors? Well, today I'm going to bring you my best tips for this move, so stick around. I think you're going to want to watch. I see so many people do glute bridges and they're really just activating their upper thighs and their hip flexors, and they're not actually getting into their glutes. So I'm going to share some tips with you. This move is shown on some of the t-tapp DVDs, but it's kind of a ubiquitous move like in the fitness scene. You'll see them done with bands, with weights, but the ones I'm going to show you today are body weight and they require no equipment. So the classic glute bridge really looks about like this. You have your feet out, hip width apart or shoulder width, depending, but basically the outside edge of your glute should be where your feet are lined up. You're gonna have your chin slightly tucked. It's basically lifting the glutes off the ground and bringing it back down. Lifting it off and bringing it back down. Now for most of us, we are quad dominant. We are quad and hip flexor dominant. So our TFL muscle that comes around here on the front, our quad attachments, we tend to activate those instead of activating our butt. So when we do this move, we really just hit those muscles right there instead of the glute max and the glute minimus that we really want to hit. So to fix that, there's a couple things that you can do. One of which is to make sure that you're not just doing this right here, okay? That's not only hyperextending your spine, but it's also just activating your TFL muscle that's on the front of your thigh and not your glute. So I like to do this move, and I like to think about that I'm lining up my rib cage to meet my hips. You all know how I'm a stickler for that in my other moves and workouts, but I like to think that it's like you're lining it up so that it's a straight line. Because right here, see, it's lifted up. My rib cage is slightly off. And then when you come up, you're thinking that your rib cage goes down and in, and you squeeze your butt, and then you line up the hip bone. So it's squeeze the glutes at the top of the movement right there where the hip bone goes to the rib cage lining up, and then make sure your chin's tucked down because your chin is going to want to jet out when you do this move. It's just one of those moves where your neck is going to try to take over the move as well, so make sure you keep it tucked. So another thing that you can do here to get more glute and less quad is bring your feet out just a little bit. Flex your feet onto your heel. So you're gonna be on your heel when you do this. Now that's gonna give you a little bit more range of motion, but it's also gonna get you a little bit more in the glute. Okay, ready? So remember, think hip bone lining up with the ribs, so you're keeping it stacked. You're not just arching it out. See how I'm keeping that stacked? And then go back down. So put your hands on the hip bone, hands on the ribs as you lift, and then at the top of the motion, squeeze, and then back down. Now, just doing that with your toes up, you should feel a little bit more squeeze in that glute max. And then last time, and up. Okay, now this is gonna be really trippy. I want you to look up. So look straight up, like look at the opposite wall. Same exact thing, heels are up, digging those heels into the ground, toes are up. Lift up and down. Oh my. Squeeze the butt and down. You just might feel a little bit more glute activation there than you did when you're looking straight up. It's because your lower back lumbar and your cervical spine are connected, and that's kind of an interesting little thing that you can try there. So it shouldn't be a huge movement, right? You don't want to just, go like this and not really get anything done. Like I said, it's a small movement. You're just going till you're in alignment, and then you're squeezing the butt and then back down. And then you're squeezing the butt at the top and back down. Now there's all kinds of things you can do with this move. You can add weight to it. People add a little stretchy band. You can add a little ball between your knees. But here is a little way that I like to amp it up without having to use any props. So you're gonna bring your knee so that it touches the upper part of your rib cage. Now some people, when they do this, they're not going to quite get it and they're gonna lift up too far. I would have them put a little ball or their fist right there, so that if they feel like they're losing the fist and they're starting to arch their back out, they know that you've gone too far. And what I mean by that is this. You're gonna have your hand there, your knee's gonna stay to your chest, and you're gonna lift up just so much that you're doing like a one leg lift. Now, that's the beginner level right there, okay? So you should be already feeling that more in your glute than in the front of your thigh. The next level to that is pulling up the toes like we did earlier, and then you looking back. Okay, ready? Here we go. So it's squeeze and down. Oh my, you should be feeling it much more. Now, if this knee starts to come away from your chest, You know you're just arching your back and you're not squeezing your glutes. It's a small movement, okay? So lift and out, lift and down, and look up. It's so counterintuitive to look up, but I promise you, you will get more glute activation. It's almost like magic. And up, down, and up. Okay, we'll do the other side just so you can see that. Again, knee comes in, and if you need, in the beginning, I've had clients do this, put a little tennis ball there to make sure that if the ball falls out, it means you're doing this instead of this and lifting from your butt. Okay, pull in the knee, look up above your head, just so that you're literally looking at the back wall. Ready, here we go. So it's lift, 2, 3, and down. See, now I was lifting up way too high there. I wanted to use more of that other side. So ready, lift and down. It's a tiny movement. Lift and down, lift and down, lift and down, lift and down. So try doing 20 to 30 of those and then tell me how your glutes feel the next day, because I can guarantee you that's really gonna hit those muscles in your glute. Well, I hope that you enjoyed these tips this week and that you apply them to your workout. I'd love to hear your comments. You can comment below or send me a message. I always love to hear how you experience this move. Thanks so much for watching, y'all, and I will see you next time.